Don't forget to like and subscribe to follow good stories. In the previous episode, Adele was pushed off the terrace by Lucrezia's maid, but fortunately, Duke Cesare caught her, though he got injured in the process. Will this incident bring them closer together? Stay tuned for episode 3 of the Manhwa High Society. In Cesare's life, there had been countless women, so he never expected to fall for a supposed sister like her. But now, he found himself captivated. Smirking, he thought, "It seems I've chosen an excellent actress." He believed she was feigning innocence to seduce him and ruin his life. "I'll do as you wish, so open your mouth," he said, leaning closer to kiss her. But just before their lips met, Cesare snapped back to reality. "Wait," he thought, "if I go any further with her, what about the contract with the Della Vale family?" He stopped abruptly, his thoughts in turmoil. Cesare furrowed his brow and looked at Adele's heaving chest. After contemplating for a moment, he restrained himself. "Next time," he thought, "I can unbuckle my belt and make it up to her if she feels treated unfairly. She's stunningly beautiful. It's such a waste to only experience her once and then end everything." Suddenly, a sharp pair of scissors was pressed against Cesare's throat, shocking him. "Ah shit," he thought, looking into her murderous eyes. Cesare became intrigued. "You're quite the crazy bitch," he said. "Why are you holding such a dangerous thing? Planning to cut my throat?" Adele replied calmly, "If necessary." Cesare glared. "And you think you have the guts to follow through?" She didn't hesitate. "You forget I come from Kimurah." The scissors dug deeper into his neck, but Cesare maintained his smile, knowing she was serious. He grinned fiercely and swiftly disarmed her, holding her trembling arm. "Considering how fired up you were, weren't you a little too easy to subdue?" "How foolish," he mocked. Adele enraged. "How licentious." Cesare didn't get angry. Instead, her fury excited him. He glanced around, realizing he had never felt this way with any other woman. He released her and casually, "So, you dislike me, Adele Vivi?" Adele hesitated, then frowned. "I don't hate you." Her answer surprised Cesare, but Adele firmly added, "However, that doesn't mean I want to do such indecent things with you." Cesare, stunned, burst into hearty laughter, which triggered his pain again. He instructed her to apply the medicine so he could leave quickly. Sitting upright on the bed, he sneakily watched her, pondering, "What should I do with this girl? I no longer want to hand her over to the Della Vale family." In the Parliamentary office, 8 people sat around a round table, praising the Buonaparte family for their warm reception of the Orina delegation. One man asked, "I heard you invited Lady Lucrezia to your office after the ball. Are we going to hear good news?" Cesare, nonchalant, replied, "It's nothing special. I just needed to talk to her." The man inquired, "What could it be about?" Cesare smirked. "It's about my sister. She was born after my parents left the family and has now been sent back home." Everyone was astonished. "Your sister?" they exclaimed. Cesare continued, "I understand you all have many questions, but soon enough, my sister will make her debut at a noble gathering in a few months. Then, she can meet the son of the Della Vale family." The other members were taken aback. Cesare turned to an older man. "I'm preparing everything to marry Adelaide off to the Della Vale family. I can't keep hiding my young, spirited sister for myself." The man, Luca di la Vale, looked at Cesare with a complex expression. Cesare continued with a mocking tone, "Isn't this good news for your family? This way, Lady Lucrezia won't have to marry the wayward son of the Buonaparte family." One day, while the Buonaparte mansion was lively with songbirds chirping, a sudden scream sent them flying. "Oh, my lady!" Gigi rushed over, his face beaming with energy despite the early hour. "You look beautiful today, Lady Adele. You never cease to enchant me every time I see you. Even the mermaids of the sea would be envious of your beauty." Cesare, after giving Gigi a playful bump on the head, warmly greeted Adele. "May the goddess bless you, Adele." She bowed in return, noticing it was the first time they had seen each other since she had treated his wound. Cesare, noticing her discomfort, smirked. "I called you here for another reason." "Don't look so annoyed." Adele hesitated, her stance confusing both Gigi and the maid, Aponi. Cesare ordered, "Come in, Sir Iger Corer. From today, he will be your bodyguard." Adele thought, "Corer? Isn't that Aponi's surname?" Seeing her confusion, Cesare added, "Iger is Aponi's brother." However, Adele found it odd, since he looked much younger than Aponi. She quickly remembered her manners and greeted Iger properly. Gigi praised her. She's very observant. Cesare replied, if she wasn't, she wouldn't have noticed that the maid wasn't from the Buonaparte family. Gigi exclaimed, she hasn't even been here a month. Then he checked his watch and said, it's time to go. Cesare, feeling nostalgic, sighed, time flies, doesn't it? Let's end here for today, he murmured to himself, even if she's my sister, I can't keep her forever. Adele felt uneasy hearing this, while Gigi and the others didn't understand the hidden meaning. As she walked through the hall, Adele cursed Cesare internally, that arrogant, reckless bastard. He was charming and exciting at first, but then he completely changed his attitude. She recalled noticing a mole under his eye that she found oddly attractive. What am I thinking? He's just a worthless playboy, she chastised herself, confused by her feelings. Suddenly, the head butler approached, and Epony hurriedly asked, why are you here? The butler hesitated before whispering something that made Epony's face pale. She told Adele, lady, the mistress has arrived and wants to see you. You need to go to the Star House immediately. In her private room, Epony was adjusting Adele's dress while voicing her suspicions that the mistress had surely learned about the contract between them. Therefore, she must not lie. If she found it difficult to answer, she should remain silent and say nothing. Epony saw the maid's worry and felt particularly tense, but nodded. All done. May the sea goddess bless you, Epony said. As the door opened, Adele's eyes widened. The entire room was bathed in a dark backdrop, but glass patterns and open windows gave the impression of stepping into a space filled with countless stars. In the middle of the room was a tea table and a woman who had been waiting for Adele. Adele couldn't hide her concern, as according to Sans tradition, she had to wait for her superior to greet her first. However, the woman remained eerily silent. After a while, Adele decided to bow and said, may the goddess bless you. I apologize for not greeting you sooner. My name is Adele Babi Buonaparte. The woman silently scrutinized her, making Adele almost hold her breath. Suddenly, the woman handed out a notebook with the words, may the goddess bless you. I am Ava. This woman is widely recognized and nominated for the chairman position. Ava Buon. She is regarded as highly competent. After some time in the mansion, I learned that she is mute due to a physical defect. Ava continued to write on the paper and invited Adele to have tea. Adele sipped the tea and admired its wonderful flavor. Ava continued writing, but then hesitated and turned to another page. Adele couldn't understand what she wanted to convey. Suddenly, the paper revealed the words, you truly are a beautiful girl. Adele hesitated, responding, you're too kind with your praise. The notebook continued, Cesare must like you a lot, right? Adele pondered and couldn't help but wonder why Ava kept asking if she felt comfortable here or if Cesare was taking good care of her. Suddenly reminded of his annoying face, especially when he got overly enthusiastic with his pretend sister, Adele closed her eyes, trying to find the right explanation but couldn't. Ava wrote again, are you in a romantic relationship with Cesare? Adele's eyes widened as she read the words. She hesitated before responding. No, absolutely not, Ava gently reassured. Little one, speak freely. I am on your side. Adele replied, that is not the issue. I haven't even thought about it. I don't care where you come from. Still determined, Adele stated, don't test my resolve. I don't approach my brother with ulterior motives. Ava silently observed the girl sitting opposite her, who was visibly upset. She then wrote on the paper, forgive my rudeness. I initially thought you were an imposter, but if you truly love Cesare, I will take you to another family. Upon reading this, Adele's eyes widened in shock. This situation was far from pleasant, but you know, as siblings, we can't love each other that way. So, little one, you don't need to go to the Della Vale family in place of Cesare. Adele couldn't believe what Ava was suggesting. I acknowledge you as a part of the Buonaparte family. I can give you more than what Cesare has promised. Adele couldn't hide her surprise. What did she really want? She said that if I loved Cesare, she would take me to another family, but if not, I would still stay here without having to marry into the Della Vale family. Ava maintained her smile, but her face showed clear sorrow. I really just want Cesare to be loved by someone. The boy has lacked affection since he was a child, and Lady Lucia cannot give him that happiness. As they were talking, the door suddenly opened, accompanied by the familiar voice of Cesare. My dear madam, you seem quite curious, don't you? He quickly approached and took the notebook. Cesare frowned as he read what Ava had written, then smirked. She must have bothered you a lot. didn't she? He tossed the notebook aside, its thud echoing through the room. Cesare and Ava exchanged smiles for a moment, then he kissed her cheek and greeted her. I'm very pleased to see you. It's been a long time, hasn't it? But we have somewhere to go now, he said, helping Adele and asking Ava for permission to leave. Take care until next time. Adele politely nodded and said goodbye, watching the door close slowly, with Lady Ava's gentle expression still present. Outside, Cesare asked her how she had responded to Ava's proposal. Adele replied, I declined. Cesare praised. Good. She tends to be overly affectionate towards her grandson. Adele glanced at him with a puzzled expression. But this way leads to the main door. We're going the wrong way, Cesare replied. I told you we needed to go somewhere. And Adele suddenly realized those words weren't idle talk. On the carriage ride, Adele couldn't stop marveling at the luxury. She had never thought she would sit in something so opulent. Moreover, the Buonaparte family's carriage was the finest. It was so renowned and lavish that it was featured in the newspapers in Santa, a place with narrow, difficult-to-expand roads. Just one carriage was enough to demonstrate the family's grandeur. When the large carriage pulled by 4 horses passed through the inner city, it seemed as if the entire empire was trembling before the grandeur of the Buonaparte family. The sun-drenched neighborhood was named Stella, a place Adele had longed to visit but lacked the courage. Now, she could comfortably enter this place. Previously, she only dared to watch from afar, and now she was accompanied by the head of the Buonaparte family. Cesare sensed her gaze. It seems you're happy, but you're not smiling, are you? Adele froze and looked at him in confusion. What did he mean? Cesare squinted playfully. I can tell you're happy. It shows right on your face. Adele turned her gaze away, feeling exposed. It's because this is my first time here. You'll get used to it soon enough, Cesare laughed. Why do you hide the things you like? Just smile freely. It doesn't cost anything. You have such a beautiful face, so you should smile more. Or perhaps you don't like being escorted by this prodigal son. Adele stiffened at his words. I don't dislike it. Still skeptical, Cesare asked. So you're not interested in doing anything with me? Adele was startled. Why has he been acting like this these past few days? I'm his sister. She forced a fake smile and replied, not at all. I quite enjoy this. Cesare changed his tone. Your life must be tough, huh? Adele looked straight at him, cursing silently. This bastard. Is he the type who gets excited by teasing a girl who doesn't like him? The carriage continued through the beautiful street and then stopped. It seemed they had arrived. Suddenly, Adele accidentally touched his hand resting on the door handle. Both were stunned by the situation, but Cesare seemed more amused. Adele awkwardly explained, Are you all right? I just wanted to help you open the door because the doctor said it would be better if you didn't move too much to avoid aggravating your injury. I didn't mean anything else. Cesare replied nonchalantly. When I read the notebook Lady Ava wrote, it seemed you had flatly refused. That really hurt my pride. Throughout the Stella neighborhood, someone shouted, The blue star is here. Immediately, everyone hurried back to their positions. Quick, dust off the display cabinets. The stores must look perfect. Everyone was bustling, unsure if Lord Cesare would visit their shop, making them very anxious. After a while, the door of one store opened. The hands of 2 people were entwined, and their presence was both magnificent and glamorous. Please, come in. This is the Bottega Divio store, Cesare cheerfully greeted back. May the goddess bless you. I'm here to choose suitable jewelry for my sister, but these items seem rather ordinary. Could you bring out something worthy of the Buonaparte family? Moments later, a 15-carat diamond ring was brought out, followed by an exquisite 9-carat ruby necklace from Mogok and a 10-carat emerald pendant. The salesperson warmly invited them to view these items. These are all meticulously selected pieces from Bottega Divio. Her name was Lisa Zanotti, the owner of the Bottega Divio store. Outwardly, she was welcoming, but inside, she was confident that her items were the finest and would certainly not be refused. Adele pondered for a while and picked up one of the items to admire it. But this action left Lisa extremely confused. Was she hinting that they should bring out something even more impressive? Seeing this, Cesare spoke up. What should we do? It seems these items are still not attractive enough for her. Lisa started sweating profusely as he continued. In fact, my sister's jewelry box has many items more valuable than these. Adele interjected. No, brother, it's just that these items are so beautiful that I can't decide which one to choose. Cesare laughed heartily. Really? Then let's buy them all. Lisa's face lit up with joy upon hearing this. I really like the items Lisa has shown us. Please show us more pieces suitable for my sister. Lisa's eyes twinkled with delight at landing such a valuable customer. She couldn't miss this opportunity but suddenly became suspicious. Since when did Lord Cesare have a sister? What on earth was happening? She wasn't sure if this girl was truly his sister, but one thing was certain. She was a noble. The aristocratic aura emanating from her and the way she reacted to the jewelry were unlike other ladies. Lisa started to worry about what she should show her next. Suddenly, she noticed something and spoke up. This item may not seem as valuable as the others, but I think these pearls would suit the lady well. Cesare, with his keen eye, also noticed. Adele, what do you think? Adele elegantly tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and said that she had never pierced her ears. Lisa, realizing her mistake, felt very apologetic. Cesare laughed. It seems my mother has raised her daughter quite conservatively. At least try it on and see how it looks. Adele gracefully tucked her hair behind her ear. Does it suit me? Cesare affirmed. It suits you very well. Lisa, seeing her aristocratic demeanor, widened her eyes in admiration, as if she was surrounded by a mystical halo. Suddenly, Cesare spoke. We'll take this one too. Lisa, startled, quickly replied, yes, of course. I'll wrap them up right away. He turned to Adele and pondered. But it seems my sister hasn't found anything she truly likes yet. Adele hesitated. There's one thing I like. It's the brooch. The brooch? Cesare responded. Really? It's so plain. Lisa also examined the brooch and agreed. It does match your Grace's elegant appearance. But in terms of design, it's rather simple. Adele held the brooch in her hand and smiled. But it's the same color as your eyes, brother. I really like it. Her gentle smile made Lisa blush, and even the man standing nearby was taken aback by the scene. Lisa widened her eyes at Adele and stole a glance at Cesare. They seemed like they had been apart for a lifetime, and they didn't look like they shared the same bloodline. If it were me, I wouldn't leave that girl alone, she thought. Cesare smirked slightly. I've heard that all women are truly terrifying. Lisa, find a stone that matches this one. The shop owner eagerly agreed. Yes, of course. Well then, let's move on to another store, Cesare said. The two continued shopping until the moon was high in the sky. Cesare asked, You don't like gemstones? Adele replied, There isn't a woman who doesn't like them. But why do you seem indifferent to these things? Adele responded lightly, I can't take them with me when I leave, can I? Hearing this, Cesare paused, then smiled softly and thought, That's true. In harsher terms, the items we bought today are not for a shoeshine girl but are the cost to promote the Duke's sister. There's no reason for me to expect a kiss on the cheek after giving her these jewels, unlike other noble ladies. Suddenly, Adele exclaimed, Cesare immediately noticed and knocked on the carriage to signal the driver to stop. The carriage came to a halt quickly. What's the matter? Cesare asked. It's nothing, Adele replied. I just saw a store. Cesare turned back. That is the secretum store. I've seen it from afar before. Cesare smirked. That place is just a cheap store. The things you bought today are worth 3 times more than the items in that store. Adele felt like she was being turned back into a shoeshine girl. She could only look at the store longingly and resign herself. I understand. Thank you, brother. The next morning, Apone was brushing Adele's hair while silently thanking the Duke for buying her those items. It was difficult for the maid to make her look any better with only the items available in the castle. After a while, Adele emerged with a refreshed appearance thanks to the things Cesare had bought her the previous day. Adele looked even more beautiful, but she still felt a bit shy because the dress exposed too much of her back. Now it was time to choose shoes. Apone remarked, I think these yellow ones will suit you well. Just then, Iger stepped forward and said, Allow me to help you put on the shoes, my lady. He quickly knelt down and put the shoes on her. Adele hesitated for a moment. The shoes were soft and comfortable, entirely different from the ones Lady Flavia had given her. Suddenly, Iger looked up at her, making Adele startle slightly. Is something wrong? She asked. Iger replied, No, my lady. Starting today, you will continue your lessons in the aria room, and I will escort you there. Adele nodded gently. By the way, who will be my new teacher in the aria room? Cesare was already waiting for her there. Adele greeted him with a hint of suspicion. As you can see, for the next few days, I will be the one teaching you how to dance. Adele accepted reluctantly. I am honored. Cesare laughed. Don't act so displeased. Come here. Adele took his hand, and they entered the practice room. Are you sure you're okay teaching me how to dance? She asked. Cesare replied, I thought you didn't care about me. It seems you're still worried about my injury. I'm just concerned that you might get hurt because of me, Adele said. Cesare said casually, I already stepped on your foot, didn't I? They both fell silent. Adele sarcastically remarked, Has no one ever taught you about compassion? Cesare arrogantly responded, There is no such thing as compassion between a man and a woman. Don't be so naive. The Buonaparte family always sat in the front row of the hall, farthest from the entrance, where the air circulation was best, and the orchestra played. Cesare reached for the gramophone and turned it on. Music immediately filled the room. Cesare bowed and said, May I have the honor of a dance with you, my lady? Adele took his hand and he pretended to kiss the back of her hand, reminding her. He gently held her hand and guided her. Adele frowned as his hand touched her bare back. Seeing this, Cesare smiled with amusement. You know that the waltz position isn't just this, right? Adele moved with him to the rhythm of the bass. This is terrible. I think I'm about to fall, she thought, but before she could react, she stumbled backward. Cesare quickly caught her and teased, Just kidding. Annoyed, Adele snapped, Stop talking nonsense. Cesare, clearly enjoying himself, replied, Do you know the essence of the waltz? It's that the man must be gentlemanly, and the woman must be beautiful. I will lead you, so just follow my steps. They continued dancing to the soft music and sweet melody. Adele followed Cesare's lead without missing a step, earning his praise. Well done. Cesare kept guiding her through each step, their movements filling the room. Why does he always look at others with such a longing gaze? Adele wondered. After a while of dancing, she was breathless, sweat beading on her face and dripping onto the floor. How can he be so insincere? It's such a disgrace to the sea goddess, she thought bitterly. Despite Adele's exhaustion, Cesare continued the lesson, unfazed. He casually remarked. Adele, breathless, murmured, I think you're right. Cesare paused, then amused, teased further. If you reject the name Lucrezia della Vale, it would cause a huge problem. Blushing, Adele replied, Don't worry, that won't happen. Cesare smiled slyly. Don't be so sure. We can't predict the future, Adele responded firmly. No, brother, it absolutely won't happen. So, rest assured. Cesare frowned at her for a moment before casually extending his hand and suggesting they continue practicing. Adele silently complied. Suddenly, the door to the room opened, and Lady Ava, along with Lady Lucrezia della Vale, slowly entered. Epone was quite surprised by their presence. The chairwoman invited me to meet Lord Cesare and Lady Adele, Ava said. Cesare was clearly displeased. He embraced Adele and continued dancing, saying, Just keep dancing and ignore them. I need you to focus only on me. As they danced, Adele had to endure Lucrezia's criticisms. Why is she so clumsy? Didn't the place she came from hold any balls? Hasn't she heard what the lady of the house said? If she continues like this, she won't be able to fit into high society. The lady is right. Many people will attend the Buonaparte ball. She'll be under a lot of pressure. This won't be easy unless she was born with natural talent. I hope Lady Adele isn't too upset. Just as Lucrezia finished, Adele slipped and fell, but Cesare quickly caught her, supporting her entire body with his strong arms. Come with me, he said. He turned to Lady Ava with a warm smile. Lady Ava, I didn't expect you to visit without notice. And Lady della Vale, how have you been lately? Lucrezia immediately forgot her words, stammering, I am well, thank you. You can call me by my first name to be more familiar. Cesare, uninterested, replied, I'll think about it. So, what brings you to here? Ava wrote on a piece of paper, I am looking for a lady who can help Adele debut in high society. Lady Lucrezia is very willing to help. It would be wonderful for the two ladies to talk to each other. Cesare sighed. You still don't realize that your grandson prefers physical activities over conversations, do you? Then marry. Cesare was speechless. Marry? No way. Adele found Cesare's bluntness towards his grandmother quite rude. Ava continued, speaking of dancing, Lady Lucrezia, you dance wonderfully, don't you? Why don't you and Cesare dance together? Adele can learn by observing. Given the opportunity, Lucrezia was thrilled. You are too kind, Lady Ava. I am very happy to do this for Lady Adele. She turned to Adele with a changed tone. I am so happy to help you. Seeing Lucrezia's expression, Adele couldn't help but shudder. Memories of the fake smile hiding behind her face flooded back. I will protect you from the murderers. The echo of a fall from a great height still haunted her mind. Adele breathed heavily, feeling a sense of dread as she saw that sinister smile reappear on Lucrezia's lips. Adele's golden eyes couldn't hide her fear and confusion. Suddenly, Cesare stepped in and blocked her view. If it's Lady Ava's request, of course, I will comply, he said, extending his hand and inviting Lucrezia to dance with a cold demeanor. The two then moved away. Adele bowed her head and let out a sigh of relief. Ava spoke to her. Are you really not involved with Cesare? Adele replied, I told you, we are just siblings. Ava became pensive. Then why does Cesare care so much about you? Adele turned away, not saying a word, and watched the two dance. She coldly remarked, after all, I am Cesare's sister. Applause echoed in the room after their dance. Ava praised Lucrezia and teased, when will you choose a date to walk down the aisle? After a while, she excused herself and asked Cesare to keep an eye on her young guest. Cesare frowned in disagreement, but she ignored him and left the three of them alone. The room suddenly became quiet. Cesare nonchalantly lit a cigar and asked, are you having fun, Lady Delavale? It seems you've been visiting quite often these days. Lucrezia stammered, I can't sit still. She glanced at Adele and continued, I'm very worried about you. Cesare coldly responded, there's no need for you to worry, so stop coming here. Lucrezia, still trying to hold on, said, do you want me to pretend not to know that you're going down a destructive path? Cesare snapped, is it wrong for me to want the freedom to meet other women? Trembling and grasping her dress, Lucrezia stammered, I can't stand by and watch you fall further into that abyss. That's why I came here, so boldly. Why can't you understand that I love you so much? I love you, Cesare. I will always love you. After a moment of sobbing, she continued hesitantly, it doesn't matter if you don't recognize it now. I can wait as long as it takes for you to walk the right path. I will keep waiting for you. The only person who truly loves you is me. Cesare took a drag from his cigar, exhaling the smoke into her face before speaking with mocking scorn. Stop saying those loving words when you're not getting anything in return. Choking on the smoke, Lucrezia coughed violently. This lesson is over. Go back to your room now, Cesare ordered Adele. Adele, wide-eyed, replied, yes, brother, and moved to leave. Lucrezia, still coughing, yelled out, but Madame Ava wants Lady Adele and me to become closer. You can't defy her orders. Cesare glared at her furiously, throwing his cigar to the ground and intimidating her with a terrifying demeanor. Suddenly, Adele spoke up, brother, if it's all right with you, I would also like to have dinner with Lady Lucrezia. There are some things I wish to discuss with her. In the dining room, the three of them shared a meal at a large table. Cesare looked bored, staring at the glass of red wine in his hand. Seeing this, Lucrezia spoke up. Does its flavor not suit you? You haven't touched your food either. Cesare replied, watching Adele eat makes me feel full. Adele paused, startled by his words. Witnessing this, Lucrezia mumbled, I understand, but her eyes glowed with a chilling malice. Adele felt like she was the steak being pierced by Lucrezia's knife and fork. He turned to Cesare and said, brother, may I escort Lady Lucrezia after the meal? Just the two of us? Cesare hesitated, surprised by this unusual request from Adele. He responded flatly, do as you wish. Adele thanked him. Cesare placed his wine glass on the table and excused himself to leave. Lucrezia wanted to hold him back, but he coldly said, I hope we don't meet again. Goodbye. At the door, Cesare instructed Iger, protect Adele and keep your distance. He then turned to the two women. I'm heading upstairs. As he ascended the stairs, he received news that the supply of materials for the construction of Galilean ships was encountering difficulties, seemingly due to a direct order from the Empress of Chevi. Cesare remarked, that's suspicious. Anyway, arrange the schedule for the shipyard. Find a merchant who can't get a trade permit. The servant responded, understood. Cesare glanced back, seeing the two women heading towards the main gate. Lucrezia, trying to appear polite, expressed her desire to visit again, saying, "I would love to come here again." Adele replied, "I'm glad to hear that, but it would be better to ask my brother's permission before we meet. I enjoy meeting you, but my brother's wishes come first." Lucrezia tried to justify herself. This meeting was approved by Madame Eva. Adele responded bluntly, "Madame Eva will also respect the wishes of the head of the Buonaparte family." The debate between the ladies continued, while Cesare casually smoked his cigar, enjoying the spectacle. "Of course, but instead of fostering our friendship, it seems you're more focused on your relationship with my brother," Adele remarked. Lucrezia feigned sincerity. "Why? I just want to be friends with you. But everything is still awkward, so I wanted Lord Cesare's help." Adele, seeing her expressions, was speechless. "Lady Lucrezia, you said you love my brother, right? Wouldn't it be better if you tried to win his heart instead of being wary of me?" Cesare and Iger, hearing this, were thrilled. "What do you mean by that?" "As I said, even if I disappeared, it wouldn't bring you to any closer," Adele added, making Iger stifle his laughter, and Cesare, excited, muttered, "I doubt Lucrezia has ever heard such straightforward words in her life." Down below, Lucrezia was losing control. "Do you think I'm a fool?" Adele calmly responded. "Why would you think that?" Lucrezia yelled, "You make me laugh. Just because Lord Cesare doesn't love you, you insult the other women around him?" Cesare remarked, Lucrezia has a point, doesn't she?" Iger tried to contain his laughter. "Your Grace, I can hear you." Adele maintained her composure. "What I mean is, regardless of what you think of me or how you act, if my brother wants me here, then I have to comply. So, showing your claws to me is pointless." Lucrezia shouted even louder, "Wait, how dare you say I'm showing my claws? How dare you accuse me of that?" Adele became serious. "Honestly, I don't want to interfere in the private matters between the two of you. I don't know what you're thinking, but my brother and I have a purely sibling relationship." Hearing this, Cesare was stunned. The room, previously filled with Lucrezia's shouting, fell silent. She coldly remarked, "You two seem to get along very well." Adele replied, "My brother only paid a bit more attention to me because I nearly caused a small incident. Otherwise, he wouldn't have cared about what I did. I'm just a sister who suddenly appeared one day, and soon, I'll get married. Cesare is a good man. I hope the two of you can get along." Cesare quietly took a drag from his cigar, the ashes falling and being swept away by the wind. "Who my dear brother associates with is none of my concern," he said. He sat there silently until the sun set, his cigar burning shorter and shorter. Memories of Adele lingered vividly in his mind. Cesare frowned, unable to shake them off. "Why do I feel so uneasy?" he thought. In the carriage, Lucrezia questioned her maid about earlier when Adele suggested she and Cesare get together. "Now that I think about it," her gaze was strange. It was as if she didn't love the Duke at all. How could that be? Just standing in front of him makes me tremble all over. No matter how bad her taste in men is or how little she understands the situation. What do you think if we reveal Lady Adele's true identity to the nobles? The maid replied, "If we do that, the Duke will truly push us away. For now, I just want Cesare to pay a little attention to me. Moving toward his heart step by step is fine. If Lady Adele really supports our relationship, then we should meet Cesare more often." Suddenly, the maid snapped Lucrezia out of her delusion. "But my lady, if that plan succeeds, won't young Master Ezra and Lady Adelaide end up getting married? She's not even a true noble. How can we let someone like that marry the master?" Lucrezia realized the implications but immediately brightened up, responding, "That's my brother's concern." The maid was stunned, but Lady Adele also appears quite like a noblewoman. There shouldn't be any issue. What's more important is whether I can continue being by Lord Cesare's side without that contract. If he has decided to proceed that way, I'll have to find another way. She then ordered the maid to keep Adele's secret, adding, "But if anyone does find out, I couldn't care less." In another room, Cesare was writing a letter to his pretend sister. "As per the doctor's advice, I can no longer be your dance instructor. Whether nature or art creates traps to control the human heart, they cannot compare to the joy I feel when seeing your radiant smile. Cesare Buonaparte." After reading the letter, Adele asked Aponi to prepare pen and paper so she could reply. Confident from having read Danny's poetry, she dipped the pen in ink and wrote back, "Dear brother Cesare, The time spent with you has truly been delightful, like soaring among the stars. But I understand that if I continue to immerse myself in that joy, it would go against the purpose you brought me here for. My brother, who has cared for and loved me immensely, is a person full of compassion, kindness, and greatness. All the good qualities of humanity are present in you. Adelaide Buonaparty. So episode 3 of the High Society series ends here. Will Adele successfully introduce herself to the aristocracy? And how will their relationship progress? Let's look forward to episode 4 of this Manhwa series.